Hello, hello, hello. What's good, family? Welcome back to another episode of Rise Urban Nation, where we unite, uplift, and ignite stories that empower the global Black and Pan African community. Today's conversation is special because we got my sis, my girl, back in the building, Angela Lewis. Y'all may have seen her before. We've done some like how I feel like we like Mariah. Me and Mariah go back like these and past fires, but when y'all first met her, she was doing the ALA thing, but now she's out here doing it big in her own way now, getting back into her roots. So today's conversation is special because it's about something bigger than sports. She's going back down to her sports journey, but it's not just about the sports. It's about healing. It's about community. It's about identity, and it's about the stories we tell our kids and the ones we tell ourselves. And today's guest, let me tell you, former professional basketball player, award-winning author, global speaker, youth coach, the force behind helping more than 500 athletes worldwide build leadership, confidence, communication, and resilience. She's the author of the game changing assist, post moves, and I heard she got some special announcements for us that we're going to drop into the podcast, and the upcoming A Ball and a Chance, and each book paired with powerful workshops helping young people grow on and off the court. And today she's here to talk about it all: the power of sports as a healing tool, why storytelling and representation in kids' books matters, her transformational V6 framework for personal growth, how using your voice can create change, especially in underserved communities. And did I mention she's going to drop some exclusive news for us? Did I mention that? I just want to make sure y'all knew. So y'all stay tuned. Angela, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm so excited to talk about all these updates and just reconnect.
Yeah, I had to pull out all the stops for you because when we get the special guest, especially a guest that we've had on before, who's coming bringing so much heat, I gotta make sure I roll out the red carpet because people don't know what's about to happen.
Well,
So
thank you for the red carpet.
no worries, all right. So let's start with your story because we've occurred some new listeners since then, and we got our old some of our old listeners. But let's start with the story. Before the books, the coaching programs, the global speaking, there was a young Angela with a basketball and a dream. Take us back to the beginning. When did sports become a central part of your life, and tell us about that journey?
Sports became a central part of my life when I was in the seventh grade, and I'm 6'1", and I've
Uh
been tall since I was 12 years old. And I was coming out of a store one day and someone saw me and asked if I played. And I was like, yeah, of course I play. But I was only playing in the backyard with my brothers. And I wasn't very good because I was only playing in the backyard. I never played competitive. But this team happened to be a super competitive team. It was an all-girl team. And this team opened up the world to me. One, I actually got to travel, which we didn't do much when I was a kid. And then I was on a team with people who were much better than me. So I saw what excellent success looked like. And then I had a coach who really believed in me. So
huh.
that ultimately led to me playing professional basketball and writing books to inspire the lives of young people.
Man, and I'm assuming once you started getting to the point where you started writing books, there was a moment where you like, this game of basketball has done so much for me, or it's more than just basketball. Um, I wonder, I'm curious, what was the moment when you realized basketball was more than a game, um, and that it was shaping your identity?
It was a moment when I was director of basketball operations at Marquette University. I was working with women's basketball there. And part of my role was to take the team into community. We basically went on tour in the preseason to 12 Milwaukee public schools. And we did a assembly for the students. And after the assembly, one of the kids asked one of our players, Taryell Simmons, she goes, can I just touch the pencil that you use to sign the autograph? And Serena gave the kid the pencil, and this little girl was like she transformed. She was so excited and elated, and I was like, "Oh, this is so much bigger." I think when I was in it as a player, you kind of expect it, but then as a coach to watch it, I was like, "Oh man, this is different," and I could see
Man.
the impact there.
Yeah, I can see just being in that essence and around that not only just witnessing how that something that small can inspire
Mm-hmm.
a young person or a community. um I sometimes when you're in the experience you may take it for granted or don't really see
Yeah.
it because you don't understand it until after you um are witnessing it from the other side. After, because you played professionally for some time, you made those transitions, but after playing professionally, um, and then being over there in Marquette, what inspired you to kind of transition into youth development, writing, and leadership coaching?
What inspired me was actually speaking. Speaking, I've I've published books, but I'm a speaker first.
Yeah,
And as a coach, you're speaking all the time, you're inspiring all the time, you're trying to find creative ways to motivate. And I was asked to speak to a group of students when I was coaching at Southeast Missouri State University. And that speech is the V6 model that you talked about. And that speech became the content for my first book, The Game Changing Assist. So for me, it was always, how do I use the words that I have to help other people's lives, particularly young people, kids? Because I was
yeah.
doing that when I was in my 20s. Like 50-year-olds weren't listening to me when I was in my 20s, right? It was the kids. And
There's like
so,
there's like videos probably later like what this young buck got to teach me, but you
exactly.
can learn a lot from a young buck. I think everybody can learn something from somebody, but
Agreed. Agreed. But my market was a little different back then. So I was a little
yeah,
younger. So for me, it was speaking. It's how do I use the words? And those words from the speech became the book. The same with Post Moves. I had a podcast called Athletes as Educators. I interviewed women who were all played college sports from different backgrounds. And those conversations became the contents for that book. The game, A Ball and a Chance. Same thing. I was asked to speak on a panel, and leading up to the panel, I said, well, what do I want to tell them? How do I make it so kindergartners, elementary school kids can actually get it? So speaking turned into writing for me.
yeah. I love that. I love that you were able to cross go across so many different modalities and platforms to kind of use your voice, and use it in a different way for each platform to kind of get that story out there, and those shifts I think are necessary, and some athletes do it well and some athletes still needs to have a harder time learning how to transition
Mm-hmm.
because sport is everything to them, and then once they retire they get to that point like, what am I going to do now? But this is a good shift that they can do as an athlete, and thank you because you've been able to do that. You've been able to shift from athlete to leader and storyteller, which is so powerful, so we appreciate you for that.
No, thank
Now
you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Now that we kind of understand where the journey began, I want to like get into the heart of the challenges or anything that's helped to kind of shape the mission. Because your story is so inspiring that I think a lot of many great athletes and entrepreneurs as they climb, they think, oh, it just should be an easy shift, or they don't realize that the climb isn't easy, or it's not going to be as easy, and there's some learning lessons and bumps along the way on the road. So I'm curious, what challenges did you face, as a young Black woman navigating in competitive sports and then doing the transition from sports into all the things that you do now?
One of the biggest challenges, I just had this epiphany while talking to a mentee. One of the biggest challenges is thinking you have to transition. We talk
Mm.
about it because everyone just accepts it. And I was talking to a mentee, and she called me, and she played NCAA Division I volleyball. And she said, I'm struggling with my mental performance business, and I played NCAA D1 volleyball, and I've coached students. And someone told me that I shouldn't talk about what I did as an athlete because now I'm a business person. And I was like, well, no, that's why you can do this business. That's why you can do mental performance coaching, because you were a hell of a player and you actually coach. That's how you know there is a need don't have to give that part of you up. And I think the problem comes when we tell athletes that we have to give that part of us up and become something new.
Mm.
So for me, the challenge has been staying grounded and rooted in that I was one of the best athletes. Like only 1% of players play NCAA Division One, even less than that play professionally. To get played, you have to like have fight and grit and heart. And anytime I thought that I was something other than that, where I
Right.
wanted to dismiss that, I struggled. So, so for me, it's for business. For example, you mentioned ALA Public Relations, the agency that I started.
Mm-hmm.
I completely went away from being able to understand, okay, just get a coach and then follow what the coach tells you to do. Okay, that works. Instead of trying to do everything by myself and you build a team, it's like, okay, well, what does it take to build a great team? So for me, the hardest part is understanding that you don't have to be completely different. Take everything that,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get into some of the exclusives that I'm going to mention, but
Yeah.
take everything that you've learned from being an athlete and apply those same drills in order to grow as an entrepreneur. You don't have to let that go.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Do you think that there's a lot of athletes that struggle with that? Like they um often feel the need to define or redefine themselves after sports, but when they can actually make that a key component in everything that they've done in sports, align it into who they are and what they're whatever business they're building or whatever the thing is that they're going
Yes,
into.
for sure. Because we're told you are going, the ball is going to stop bouncing one day, but it doesn't have to. Like you can still go hoop, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't stop. The
yeah,
way if I see a trash can, I'm gonna shoot something in it. Like it, you just can't help it. It doesn't. That part doesn't have to leave you. So I think the challenge comes in when you decide that you're going to drop this identity when in fact you can use that, the strength of it, the connectedness to the world of that identity to go on and do anything that you want if you give yourself enough time to develop the new skill. So take being a great athlete and then
yeah,
add a skill on communication on top of it, add public speaking, add being an author, add sales, add marketing, just add it on top of what you've already done. Don't let go of what you've already done.
yeah, yeah. And it just helps you to evolve and then grow.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you do in sports, you learn a new technique that you add to your game that allows you to pivot, evolve, and grow. Right.
That's it.
Um,
Yep.
how did you discover the deeper mission behind your work?
Ooh, that's a good question. How did I discover the deeper mission? There's this really cool clip of Viola Davis going around that I saw on Instagram, and she said something to the effect of, your gift is not what you do. She said your gift is what happens to people when you do what you do.
Mm,
And I was like, ooh, that is good. So how did I discover the deeper mission? It's the part of the exclusive is I am re-releasing the game-changing assist and updating it. I asked a group of middle school girls to review chapters and give me feedback. And their feedback, what happened to them when they read it, and the feedback was anonymous. The things that they said about how they were inspired, the things that they said about how the 6 V's made sense to them, about how they're thinking about their vision. That is how I discovered the deeper meaning. It's the way that the people responded when I gave my gift away.
mm. I think a lot of our listeners would resonate with that. Your gift isn't what you do; it's how you. I'm paraphrasing here. How you make others feel and how they receive it. That's the gift
Yeah,
right
it's what
there.
happens to
And
them
what
when
happens
you,
to
yeah.
go ahead, repeat it for me one more time because I don't hijack it all up. Go ahead, give it to
No,
the people in the back one more time.
this is from Viola Davis. She was giving like a graduation speech, and she said, "Your gift is not what you do; it's what happens to people when you do what you do."
That was powerful. I love that.
That
I
that
love
makes
that.
sense.
Uh, I'm thinking about everything that you're doing, and you mentioned the V6 again, and and that's like a whole entire framework. It seems like
It
you
is.
built, which is around. Um, is it around transformation? Like, let's talk
It
about
is.
that. What is the V6
Sure.
framework?
So the V6 framework is a framework for continuous development.
Okay.
It's essentially how do you get from the valley to victory? And then you
Mhm.
get back in the valley and get back out. So the valley is any like challenge that you may have. You ask, how did I get here? And then
Yeah.
what voices am I listening to? So the next V is voice. So we got valley, we have voice, that's two. We have vision. So what's the new vision that I need to craft to get me out of this valley? We craft a new vision. And then what are the values? This is key. Number four is what are the values that I need to embody? So these are our habits to help me get to that vision.
Mm.
And then this is the fifth one, who can I teach what I know? So how can I volunteer? And then
Mhm.
lastly, the point of victory. And when I say victory, I mean it with a small v, not a big V. It's the
Okay.
small wins that we add up to help pull us out of the valley. Because eventually you're going to get back in another one, and you need the right voices, the right vision, the values, volunteer, and the to understand that the small victories actually
Like,
pull
I
you
love
out.
that,
So
and
that's the V6 model.
I love that V6 model. I'm thinking about it. Not only is this relevant for young adults, but I feel like leaders could really use this V6 framework in their leadership growth and development, and how they show up in other
Agreed.
spaces. And now, if I remember correctly, you also, I think you had mentioned something about turning these lessons into a kid's book. What made you wanted to do that and do companion workshops with it?
I never wanted to do like a children's book. A Ball and a Chance is a children's book with
Oh, the ball and the chances.
illustrations. A Ball and a Chance is a children's book. The Game Changing Assist is like middle school. So A Ball and a
Okay.
Chance is like K5. Um, the the Game Changing Assist is middle school. So wrapped in those six V's are stories from my experience as a young basketball player. I
Yeah.
talk about having the vision of playing college basketball, listen to the voices of my brothers and not the kids who weren't nice. So that's more like middle school character development,
Hmm.
that book. And the workshop, there's activities that go with each chapter to make it come alive. So I believe that books are great, but if you can add an experiential component to the book, then it makes it real and it sticks with everyone in a different way. So that's why the Game Changing Assist has the workshops and the different activities that align with it.
Yeah, I love that you built in workshops and those activities because it's almost like I get a little bit of education, I get a little bit of a mentorship, and dare I say, I
Mm-hmm.
get a little bit of the therapy and inspiration all rolled up into one.
Yes, all of
It
that.
all of that. So when you reflect on your journey, thinking about the athlete, the author, the speaker, the coach, what lessons rise to the top of your list?
One of the biggest lessons that I learned recently that I didn't know until I started working with Speaker Hub. I worked with Speaker Hub and I help with customer success and I've helped with operations. And the lesson that I learned is I've been on the right path the whole time.
Yeah.
I just needed to do more of what was already working. I needed to get the Game Changing Assist in the hands of more young women, get in front of more coaches. Needed to speak. I spoke at Florida State University to their athletes years ago, and I did that once. And it's like, oh, you've been doing the right stuff. Just do more of that
Yeah.
instead of doing new things. So that has been the greatest lesson that I've learned. Keep writing books, keep telling stories, because 10 years from now, there are kids who are 3 right now
Hmm.
who are going to need the Game Changing Assist 10 years from now. So keep writing, keep speaking, keep sharing my gifts. Greatest lesson. If
Yeah.
it's
I
working,
love
do
that.
more of it. You don't
I
have to do
love
something
that.
new. Just do more of what's
Just
working.
do more of what's working. I love that. Love that. And big shout out to Ron, who
Yes.
keeps doing more of what's working with every system out there known to mankind that helps speakers elevate their game. So if you
Yes.
don't know, now you know. I have to shout out to Ron, get him back on the show because
Absolutely.
I haven't got him on since he's acquired Speaker Hub, so
Yes, so much
we
has
can have some
changed. Shout
combo.
out to Ron
Yeah,
Story Jr. on a Speaker Hub and other
Glad.
companies.
You know.
Ron's dynamic.
uh, what's the biggest misconception people have about confidence and leadership?
Ooh, those are two. The biggest misconception about confidence is that you can think your way confident. Like if I think and you can affirm yourself confident.
Nah.
Confidence
Okay.
comes from evidence that you actually can do whatever you're pursuing. And oftentimes we want the big, as I talked about, like the victory. Confidence happens in the small victories, not in the big thing. So I was talking to parents and they said, "Oh, I want my daughter to be more confident." And I'm thinking, she shouldn't be very confident in basketball right now. Now, here's the point. She should not be
Mhm.
confident in basketball right now because she hasn't practiced enough to develop the skill enough to dribble with her left hand. But she still can be a confident young woman in
Mm.
school and who she is as a person. So I think the misconception about confidence is that if you lack confidence in one area, then you are not confident overall.
Mm.
And I hate to see when players lack confidence in who, like the core of who they are, because they missed the shot. Like this basketball doesn't matter in the grand scheme of who you are at your soul level. You're still worthy
Yeah.
and valuable, even if you lost the game. So misconception is you're not confident in one domain, then you're not confident overall. And we
Yeah.
have to work really hard to help kids and people in general see themselves as more than the work that they do and produce.
Yeah.
Confidence.
And I think that's when the mentality starts to struggle. Especially because my daughter she plays soccer and she does jujitsu, and I can see that too sometimes, like when she may have, I don't know, a bad play, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then her confidence starts to eat away at her, and then she doesn't, uh, if she doesn't switch her mindset, then the rest of the game just starts to be a bad game, and then the rest of the day
Mm-hmm.
starts to be a bad day.
Yeah.
And we got to switch that mindset. Um,
Can
did
I
you?
can I share something? I'm
Yeah, go
sorry
ahead.
about that. I mentioned to you before the show that my dad passed a few months
Yeah,
ago, and I was reflecting the Ball and the Chance is dedicated to my dad. Tons of stuff
yeah.
in there about my dad, like little drops. Um, but what I said in the book in this dedication is, thank you for always treating me the same, whether I won or lost. And
Mhm.
that developed a level of safety and stability. Mom did as well, but my heart is right for dad right now.
Daddy's girl.
Yes. Is it obvious? Is it
Yes.
obvious?
As a girl
Um,
dad, I appreciate that. So thank you.
Shout out to all the girl dads and all the dads loving, especially dads loving on your daughters. Like if you can just say, it's okay, you're still enough. You're still wonderful. You're still capable, even if you had a bad game. That is going to do one. She may not get it at 8, 9, 10, but when she's 40, she's going to be like, you know what?
Yeah.
My dad believed in me, even when I had a bad game. Makes a difference.
Right. And yeah, I think that's some good advice because I think that's something that you can easily do. I'm wondering, is it the same for because I don't know if is that the same for coaches and mentors too? Should they take that approach? Like, how can no matter who you are, how can if you're a parent, coach, mentor, better support youth who are struggling? Like, is it
Mm.
the same approach that like your dad took, or is there other things that they can do?
Well, be honest. I mean, yes, you missed know this wasn't your best game and you are still a good person. So you both can be true. I think honesty is key. I'm not saying lies to them and say, "Oh, you were
Right.
great," when they really weren't, but they weren't a good player that day, but who they are as a person is still the most valuable and
Right.
valuable. And who they are as a player, well, well, go in and get some extra shots in, get some extra kick, practice a bit more, and you can get better.
Yeah. What advice do you have for like young athletes who are navigating identity, pressure, and expectations?
Ooh, young athletes navigating identity, pressure, and expectations. Give yourself time to be good. You will not be good immediately, and that's okay. You can get better quicker if you work more, but give yourself time to get better and pick one or two things to work on. It to really hone in on and track your progress. So, for example, if you want to be a better free throw shooter, decide you're going to shoot 100 free throws before or after practice, and then track your progress in order to get better and ask for help. I mean, coaches are there for a reason.
Yeah. Make sure you ask for help, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody succeeds alone. Even Michael Jordan needed a coach. So if you're
He did,
listening
of
right
course.
now, take some of these gems that Angela is giving you, and this is going to be eventually part of your story as you take these nuggets and implement them in your life. This is going to be leading up to your story, and that might be the key to your breakthrough. And then eventually you find yourself like Angela. It'll be the key to somebody else's breakthrough. Once you be able to share that journey that you're going through.
Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking, Angela, like you did mention that you had some exclusives, and
Yes.
I know, there's a couple of them. So run it down. Tell me about these
Okay.
exclusives you got.
So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up. It's 2026. First is the revised version of the Game Changing Assist, 6 Simple Ways to Choose Success. It was originally published in 2012, will be updated, re-released 2026. Then there's Post Moves, the Female Athlete's Guide to Dominate Life After College. That book is being updated, will be re-released. And then, of course, we have A Ball and a Chance coming out um, in 2026 with beautiful illustrations. The book is written poetically, so it's not a typical like. And then Destiny went to the gym. No, no, no. The I wanted the book to sound like a basketball was dribbling
Okay.
as you read it. So it's a very cool cadence to the book. And then also really excited about a new philanthropic initiative. Um, we hadn't talked about this, but I have a background in nonprofit sector as well. So I led a nonprofit for years, and so my heart leans heavily towards nonprofit leaders and their work. So there's an organization in Jamaica called Phase One Academy. Phase One Academy went through the devastating recent
Mm,
hurricane, and they work with hundreds of young people. And they have dorms that were all ruined, basketball court ruined, and so I'm going to host a basketball camp in Dallas, where I live, and we're going to raise some money and get some materials and some basketballs and shoes
yeah.
for the young people in Jamaica. I think we often take for granted all that we have here in the U.S. And
Yeah.
so excited to share resources with an organization that's doing really, really phenomenal work in terms of on the court, but also character development for boys and girls.
Yeah, thank you for all that you're doing for that organization. And I know you shared a little bit with me before we got on and started recording. And I heard some of those kids don't even have their correct shoe sizes. That some of them are just take whatever shoes they can. Sometimes they're wearing shoes that are too small, too big. And what a blessing it would be if we can show up and show out for Angela when she
Yes.
throws this together. So every child deserves to wear a shoe that fits them in their size. Think what they could do, how much they could be, so they can show up, in their vibrant, most authentic and thriving self. So thank you for what
Yes,
you're
and we're all
doing.
connected. I think one of the most beautiful things about sport, I played ball in Germany, lived in Medellin, Colombia for 2.5 years, and basketball was what took me to so many different places around the world. And all you need is a ball and you step on a court and then you have friends instantly.
Yeah,
And so I really feel like the basketball community is growing even more globally.
it is.
And it's important to share resources so that we can help transform people's lives through this great sport that we all love.
Yeah, I think basketball is making its way global. It's pretty much everywhere now. Here's a crazy thing about, I think 5 years ago I was out in the Philippines, and
Mm-hmm.
I went to play out. So my friend took me to like a small town somewhere. We went to go play basketball on the courts over there. I had my sneakers, I had my gear on and everything, and some of them had jerseys of Kobe and all
Mm-hmm.
their favorite basketball stars. But these cats, they got different type of feet over there. Some of them was playing basketball in flip flops or sometimes no shoes, and they'd be like running and like skirt. I was like, man, how y'all do that? And they was like jumping, looking like
Yeah.
an Air Jordan side and everything. I was like, man,
Yeah.
I don't know if I could play basketball like that with those shoes on the concrete.
That is the beauty of sport. It connects people from all over the world. That's the beauty of it. And you see what
Right.
people are willing to do for the love of the game. Like it's sport is an unbelievable institution for
It
connection.
is, but we had a connection. It was beautiful how that one game brought all these different people together, and we played, had a good time, and shared just the love of the game with each other, right? And then yeah, I echo that sentiments. So thank you for coming on the show, dropping these gems with us, these exclusives. As you know, Rise Urban Nation, you got it here first. We are
Yeah.
recording this in 2025, but this airing in 2026. So I'm gonna get all the links from Angela, and you can go get it now. Yes, right now, go get into the bio, get into the links of this podcast episode. Go support a sister and help a brother out. Um, Angela, thank you for your vulnerability, your power, and your commitment to the different communities you're helping and to the next generation. Where can our listeners, follow your journey, buy your books, sign up for coaching, and bring you in for workshops?
You can find all of the information at angelarlewis.com, like rebound, Angela Rebound Lewis, angelarlewis.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to chat. Angela R. Lewis on LinkedIn. And Instagram, you can follow the journey, the Angela R. Lewis on Instagram.
The Angela R. Lewis. Ain't nobody other, often imitated, but never duplicated.
Never, never.
Family, make sure
No,
you go
thank you.
tap in with Angela at angelarlewis.com, grab her books, and support the incredible work she's doing in the community and across the world. If this episode moved you, share it with an athlete, a parent, a coach, or anyone who needs a reminder that leadership begins within. Don't forget to subscribe, rate the show, and join us on the next episode as we continue to rise together. Peace.